You said this place was steps from the water.
We just haven't found the steps yet.
How much did we save?
Enough.
Enough to get lost?
Or you could book a stay with Hilton.
Welcome to your oceanfront room, just steps from the water.
The Hilton sale is on now. Book on Hilton.com or the Hilton app and save up to 20% to get the stay you expected. When you want savings, not surprises, it matters where you stay. Hilton, for the stay.
Some things happen fast, like a vacuum finding your lost earring. A dog reacting to the word walk. And settling up with friends on the PayPal app. Send and receive money in seconds. Access your balance to send, shop, pay bills, and more. Download the PayPal app to get started. An account with PayPal is required to send and receive money. A PayPal balance account is required to hold and use a balance.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts, the podcast that invites you to stay a while with the ghosts. I'm your host, Jennifer, your personal medium and a teller of ghost stories. Tonight I have for you tales of haunted AirBnB visits. It's going to be a fun, creepy one. After the spooky, come join me at my seance table for a message from the spirits. If you're new to the podcast, each week as your medium, I open the space for a spirit to come close with a message for someone listening. And since you're here, this message could be for you. But first, the ghosts are ready to check in. The stories start right now. My cousin from Jersey City came up to Toronto with his girlfriend, his mom, and our aunt. My cousin and his girlfriend stayed in an Airbnb a few minutes from my place in a quiet neighborhood, one of those older areas with small stone bungalows tucked beside large leafy parks, pre-war houses, low to the ground, lots of shadows. The first night, they invited me, my boyfriend, my brother, and another cousin over for drinks and games. While they were grabbing supplies, I was standing in the kitchen talking with my cousin's girlfriend and my brother. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw what looked like a human leg, suspended mid-air, like someone caught halfway through a step. My heart started pounding. I knew we were the only people in the house. Just as I was about to ask if anyone else saw it, the overhead light began flickering violently. My brother and I locked eyes and laughed nervously. I didn't want to scare his girlfriend, especially since she was staying there overnight. The rest of the evening passed without incident, and we all left early the next morning. Later that day, I brought them coffee and breakfast and stayed for a couple of hours. Despite it being a bright, hot, sunny day, the house felt cold and oppressive, dark in a way that didn't match the light outside. I couldn't shake the feeling and suggested we sit on the porch, but they didn't want to. My eyes kept drifting to the hallway between the kitchen and the bedrooms, the same spot where I had seen the leg. Nothing else happened, but the unease never lifted. On their final day, they visited other family and planned to come to my condo that evening. When they arrived, they were quiet and withdrawn, completely different from their usual bubbly selves. I tried joking around, but nothing landed. Finally, I suggested maybe we were all just exhausted and that we could skip hanging out. That's when my cousin asked me if I had noticed anything wrong with the house they were renting. I immediately knew what he meant. They told me the place felt wrong from the moment they arrived, dark, heavy, and angry. His girlfriend mentioned how unnaturally quiet the neighborhood felt and how the overgrown lawns nearby unsettled her. They said they had been fighting every night in the house, something they never did. She also admitted she couldn't sleep and kept finding herself wandering the house in the dark for no reason. They were terrified to spend their final night there. My boyfriend and I offered for them to stay with us instead. They accepted instantly. Around 2:30 in the morning, I went with them to help them pack while my boyfriend stayed home to prepare the sofa bed. The rental house was unnervingly still, inside and out. While they packed, I cleared the fridge. I didn't feel panicked, just focused on getting them out. Then, while the girlfriend was in the kitchen with me, I heard it, a faint, inhuman scream in my right ear. Demonic, not loud but unmistakable, like something screaming from another dimension and bleeding into ours. I asked if she heard it. She didn't. We finished packing, locked up for the last time, and as we left, I quietly told whatever was in the house that it was not welcome to follow us. On the drive back at 3 a.m., a strange animal pranced across the road. It looked like a deer with no fur, or something close to it, disturbing, surreal. We stayed up until 4 a.m. talking through everything. We realized that most of the experiences centered around women, me and the girlfriend. She mentioned that when we first arrived, she couldn't unlock the door despite entering the code repeatedly. My brother tried, who entered the code once, and the door opened immediately. My brother told me he felt like something was watching us from the walls. He said that's why he kept leaving early, because it didn't want him there. I tried researching the house and the street, but nothing came up. I don't know what happened there, whether it was death, violence, or simply years of trapped anger, but something was there. What makes it harder to dismiss is who experienced it. My cousin works in law enforcement. His girlfriend works in the medical field. They deal with life and death situations regularly. For them to say they were too afraid to spend another night in that house tells me this wasn't imagined. It was intense, whatever it was. It was real. This past weekend, my father and I traveled to Florida for a family event. We stayed in an AirBnB that had originally been booked by my uncle, but he decided not to use it and offered it to us instead. The place was a ranch-style duplex, and my aunt had stayed in the other side once before. When we arrived late Friday night, everything felt normal. The house had an open layout, living room straight ahead, kitchen just beyond it. To the right was a short hallway with 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a set of small closet doors. One bedroom sat directly across from the bathroom, and there was a connecting door between the two, something I remember clearly, though at the time it didn't seem important. I chose the small back bedroom near the patio door and the backyard. My dad initially picked one of the front bedrooms, but ended up sleeping on the couch in the living room instead. Nothing unusual happened that night or throughout Saturday. After the family event, we went out to eat and returned later that evening. My dad mentioned an uncle and his daughter were stopping by, but I was exhausted and fell asleep before I saw them. Sometime between 4 and 5 a.m., I woke up and scrolled on my phone for a little while. Around an hour later, I went to the bathroom. My dad was still fast asleep on the couch, snoring loudly. Other than that, the house was quiet. About an hour after that, I got up again and immediately noticed a light shining down the hallway. I assumed I had left the bathroom light on, but when I turned the corner, I realized the light was in the front bedroom. My dad was still knocked out cold on the couch. For a moment, I wondered if my uncle and cousin had stayed the night, but both bedrooms were empty. Confused, I took a quick video on my phone and then tried to wake my father. As I lightly tapped his arm, I thought I heard a faint humming sound, soft, almost like a woman's voice, coming from that bedroom. At the same time, the air turned ice cold, not just cool from the air conditioning, but cold in a way I recognized from past experiences. I tried to rationalize it, telling myself I was already on edge. My dad finally stirred. When I asked about the light, he groggily said he might have gotten up and forgotten to turn it off, and then immediately fell back asleep. I knew he hadn't been up. I would have heard him walking on the wooden floors. When I went to turn the light off, the wall switches didn't work. I had to use a remote sitting in the room. That only made it worse. I went back to bed as dawn began to break. The light stayed off, but the cold lingered, thick and heavy in that part of the house. I checked the rooms again. Nothing. Still, the atmosphere felt wrong. Eventually, I fell asleep. A couple of hours later, I awoke again. The house was still cold. My dad was still sleeping. When he finally awoke and started getting ready, the cold sensation suddenly vanished. I told him what happened. He couldn't remember turning on the light at all. We checked out shortly after without anything else happening. I still don't know what to make of it, but something about that house in those early morning hours felt very wrong. Last year, I stayed in a house I rented from a woman who was also living there. It was a nice place, nothing memorable about it, at least not right away. The first day passed without issue, but that night felt different. I had just settled into bed when I heard the front door open and two men arguing loudly.
Why is she here? I don't want her here. She's not hurting anyone. What's your problem? She's in my bed. Why is she in my bed?
My stomach dropped. I thought I must have taken someone else's room by mistake. I got up to confront them, but the house was empty. The front door was still bolted shut. Shaken, I tried to convince myself it was my imagination, or maybe noise from another house. The next morning, I mentioned it to the homeowner. She told me she lived alone and that she had been the only one there that night. I decided to let it go. Nothing else happened until my final night. I was sitting with the homeowner having a drink when the TV suddenly switched on by itself. I looked at her, startled. She shrugged and said it happened all the time. Then we heard crashing sounds from the kitchen, pots and pans hitting the floor. She didn't react. When I mentioned it, she casually said, "It's just Ethan." I asked who Ethan was. She went completely blank and then told me to leave. Already terrified, I grabbed my things because I needed to catch my flight anyway. I flew home and tried to forget the whole experience. A few days later, I received a message. "Dear Isabella, there was something wrong when you stayed. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I didn't want anyone to know. Ethan is my son, who has passed away. I usually keep his room empty, but I needed money that week, and I rented it to you. Ethan sleeps in his room every night, and if he can't, he gets cranky. The man he argues with is his best friend Logan. they had died together. That's what happens when I have visitors. I asked him to behave, and he didn't. I'm sorry. Thinking back on all the strange things that happened in that house, I still don't sleep easily in other people's beds. Welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. Thank you for joining me here at my seance table for a message from the spirits. Tonight, as I work, I have with me the stone aquamarine. Aquamarine is said to soothe an overactive throat chakra. It's often used as a good luck stone to bring feelings of peace and love, joy, happiness. Traditionally, aquamarine is said to help with courage, purification, peace, intuition, self-expression, and balance. So I'm going to clear my mind, open the space for spirit to come close. Tonight he appears to me as a middle-aged man. He's coming through with a lot of sadness. He is expressing that he always felt stuck. He never progressed. He never moved forward with plans and action, and he just lacked momentum in his life. He loved to talk, and he had a lot of wonderful ideas on how he wanted his life to be, but he's saying he just lacked action and lacked movement forward in so many aspects in life. And yeah, he's coming through with a lot of sadness. You would recognize that he would often say that things weren't fair, and it really bothered him spiritually in life. This feels like a brother to me. He's saying sister, sister to you, and he's describing you as someone who has so much to give and makes people's lives better, and that he admires you so much, and he admires your kindness and how open and giving you are. Okay. His message for you tonight, he says you make things fair. You make things right. He's saying don't be like him. Go forward. Take action. Be passionate. Because you're right. You can trust yourself. And he just wants so many good things for you. So much prosperity and good family memories and love, and he knows that's because you are capable of creating that. You are creating it, and he just wants to send his love and say how much he is proud of you and loves you, and that you're doing all the right things. And he says when you remember him, remember the good things, the laughter in childhood, and don't feel bad for him. And there's no reason to regret. Just live your life forward and keep going and embrace your happiness. I hope this message reaches you and that it brings you a little sense of closure and connection as well. Thank you. And with that, dear listener, we have reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you enjoyed my spirit work this evening, as well as those creepy stories of Airbnb rentals. Have you ever had a paranormal experience while renting a space? I would love to hear about it, so please reach out. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and good night.